afternoon, and welcome to the March 6, 2025 meeting of the Rotary Club of Louisville. I am Lori Flannery. I'm the President and CEO of New Directions. I'm the President of this club and a Paul Harris Fellow. I do want to remind everyone, if you have a device with you here today, if you'll please take a second to make sure it's either turned off or silenced during the duration of the meeting. Providing our invocation today is Kevin Lynch, Growth Director at LBMC, Chair of the Rotary Fund Board, which means he's the immediate past president. That's the next step. Paul Harris Fellow +4, and one of the best darned presidents ever.
I can tell Lori can't wait for that next step. As we listen to Dr. Capilouto today, let us appreciate the value of an education. Most of us in this room had an opportunity to get a college education, but we can't take for granted everybody has that opportunity. Through Rotarians' work, volunteer work, a lot of people do have a chance that wouldn't otherwise have that chance. We have Rotary Promise scholarships, Ted Burke scholarships, mentoring, West End School, Iroquois School. There's all kinds of volunteer work and also scholarships through Rotarians. People get a chance that otherwise wouldn't have that. A lot of times they're the first one in their family to ever go to college. And it takes a lot of them they need to earn the right to do that. We give them the opportunity, but they need to do a lot to prepare for that, to earn that, and then in turn do a good job with the education. So it's something that our club really values tremendously. We appreciate the comments from Dr. Capilouto today. Remind us that education doesn't stop when we graduate from college. And help us, realize that learning is a lifelong process. We should never stop learning in our personal and professional lives. And help us always keep our curiosity and continue to grow in understanding of other people and the world around us. Rotarians would like to make a difference in the world in whatever way they can. Dear Lord, and we ask your help in the never-ending journey to continue to learn and to help us achieve our full human potential. This will help us improve the world however we can and have more enriching lives while developing deeper friendships along the way. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Kevin. That was lovely. Now to lead us in the pledge and Rotary's four-way test is Bridget Wingate, Community Development Officer at Central Bank. Good afternoon.
Hello.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And then if you could look at the four-way test.
Is it true? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bridget. Okay, now it is time for Rotarians to introduce any guests that they have with them. If you'll please line up behind this gentleman at this microphone. Before you get started, Henry, I want to get everybody's attention back again. So Rotarians, as you introduce your guest, please state your name first, then the name of your guest and their affiliation. And guests, when you hear your name, if you will please just stand briefly so that the members of the club and the other guests can see who you are. Thank you.
President Lori, fellow Rotarians, I'm Henry Heiser, and my guest today is David Riley. David is an attorney with Stites and Harbison Attorneys and also past president of the University of Kentucky Alumni Association. David Riley.
Welcome.
President Lori, my name is Kelly Burke, and my guests today are Ron and Leslie Gold. Ron is a trustee of the University of Kentucky, and Leslie is the chairperson of the Young Center.
Welcome.
governor and also works for the University of Kentucky Fulton County Extension Office as a horticultural specialist.
Welcome.
Lori, my guest today, is a wonderful friend of mine. She's kept me very busy. She is the CEO of the Center for Women and Families, Elizabeth Martin. She's at the back of the room, so turn your heads.
Welcome.
President Lori Jean West, past president of the club. My guest is Valerie Combs. Valerie is the first African-American female to be awarded a full scholarship to play women's basketball for the University of Louisville, the first to score 1,000 points in her career. And she is Director of Alumni Engagement and Philanthropy for the University of Louisville. This is her house. President Capilouto, Valerie has a gift for you on behalf of the University of Louisville.
All you fun. Welcome and thank you to one of the best darn presidents ever for bringing your guest.
President Lori, and I'm Bridget Boyd at Central Bank. I'm here to introduce Clayton Rogers. He is our retail banking officer here in Louisville.
Welcome.
President Lori, Dan Hartledge with Guthrie Mays Public Relations. Dr. Capilouto signs that hat. Put it on eBay. It's probably
Make some money for Rotary, I don't know.
I want to introduce to you Kevin Smith. Kevin is Chief External Affairs Officer with Goodwill. He joined Goodwill about 3-4 months ago. Prior to that, he had a 35-year career in urban business. He was at Jim Beam and Maker's Mark, master distiller at Maker's Mark, and helped create something called Maker's 46.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, President Lori. Delene Taylor, Executive Director of the 13th largest Rotary Club in the world, and I have a guest here today, Amber Miller. She is the founder and CEO of Amber Miller Events, and she was also the manager of special events and programs at One Southern Indiana for over 6 years. So you may have seen her out and about. Welcome.
Welcome. Well, thank you, Rotarians, for bringing such wonderful guests here to our Rotary meeting. Guests, when you hear me ring the bell again, that is going to indicate that our meeting is concluded. And if you will please just take 5 or 6 minutes, go to this table over here in the corner. It's called our What is Rotary table. You can't miss it because there's a placard in the middle of the table that says, What is Rotary? And there will be someone there who can give you a little bit of an overview of Rotary in general and our club in case you're interested. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for being here and thank you for doing that. Now, as always, we have some Rotarians in the spotlight this week, so I will highlight a few of those. And as time goes on, if you all know of things, we don't catch everything. We really do want to recognize the wonderful things that Rotarians are doing in our community and the things that they are involved in. So please let Delene or me know if you think of something. The ones I'll talk about today, we want to give congratulations to Josh Suter and the Chamber St. Matthews on their recent ribbon cutting and 70th anniversary rebrand. Congrats to Rinsha Allen as well. She's the one who won our bourbon pool last week. She serves on the chamber. She's a chamber board member. So congratulations to that group. Rotarian and Deputy Mayor Nicole George was in the spotlight recently when Louisville Metro's Office of Resilience and Community Services announced its new 3-year action plan and new name. It's now called the Office of Social Services. So congratulations to that effort. We want to congratulate Dr. Swanee Jett and Ramona Dallin, who were both featured in the February 13th edition of the Louisville Defender. Congrats to Helen Cullen, who was recently joined Dean Dorton as Forensic Evaluations Services Consultant. Congratulations, Ellen. And finally, while it is Rotary Leadership Fellow Amalia Gomez-Guerra's partner who is in the actual spotlight, we had to know because we are excited for her and Humberto Lajera, whose artwork is featured on the 2025 Woodford Reserve Commemorative Derby Bottle. We have several Rotary events coming up. We've got the Interact and Rotaract Club blood drives, the Rotary wine swap party, and the Rotary Spring Fling at the zoo. So details for these are going to be in your weekly Sparks. There'll be a way to link into there and to sign up for any of those activities. They're always fun, so please consider doing those. And then also I want to highlight that we do still need volunteers. We're trying to get about 15 volunteers who are Rotarians who will, on March 14th, be part of a Raise the Roof habitat event. So if you are able to do that, please let Alyssa Gray or Larry Sloan know. We want to have a really good showing. I'll be there as well. And Bridget Johnson, who's my Chief Operating Officer, is on the board there. So you'll also see her there. Okay. Now I would like to invite to the podium President nominee Barbara Sexton-Smith, Chief Rewirement Officer of BSS Enterprises, and Paul Harris Fellow +5 to induct some new members.
All right, thank you, President Lori. And if there's anyone in the room that ever wondered if there's a real thing such as the universal mind, you cannot make this up. As you were mentioning Deputy Mayor Nicole George's name, she was calling me, and I was making sure that my phone was on silent. She doesn't know that she was honored. So I would love for as many people in this room to text her and say, missed your Rotary today, and maybe she won't be AWOL anymore. I kid her about that. And then lastly, Amalia, my Rotary Service project, one of them is to serve as a Rotary mentor. And I'm meeting with Amalia Gomez this afternoon at 4 o'clock. So, President Lori, at this time I want to invite a few folks to join me at the podium for induction as a Rotary member. Donnie Atkins, Gabrielle Jones, Daniel Lawson, and their sponsors, Kent Whalen and Craig Mooney. Please join me at the podium. Whoever's taking pictures will tell us exactly where to stand. I think they like us close behind this stand and repeat. Step and repeat, is that what that's called? All right. Fellow Rotarians, as you know, we seek to grow our membership so we may not only increase our usefulness and influence as a club, but also to extend the spirit of Rotary throughout our community. And today, it is my honor to induct 3 new members. And to our new members, you've been elected to the membership of this club because we believe you to be a worthy representative of your calling and to possess qualities that will permit you to exemplify in your public, your business, social, and private lives the true spirit of Rotary. You've been admitted not only to the 13th largest, did I say 13th largest Rotary club in the world, and to a global organization of more than 46,000 clubs, where you are also welcome at any time. Now, Rotary membership adds value to those who engage, whether by attending meetings and events, participating in service projects, or sharing your knowledge and talents as we carry out the principles of Rotary throughout our community. It is my honor to now formally induct you as a member of the Rotary Club of Louisville. Welcome.
I have the honor of introducing 2 of these fine people, Donnie Atkins and Gabrielle Jones. Donnie Atkins is a real estate investor and past owner of the legendary Joe's Palm Room and Cedar Club Cedar. Prior to becoming an entrepreneur, Donnie held roles with Young Brands, IU Health, Papa John's International, and the Mayor's Office. Donnie is currently the market president for RFC Group, a Hayworth best-in-class commercial furniture distributor headquartered in Cincinnati, Ohio. Donnie holds a bachelor's degree in business administration from Sullivan University. He also earned a master's of business administration from Indiana Wesleyan University. He is a member of several organizations, including the YMCA, 2 Not 1, the Kentucky Real Estate Investors Association, and the Metropolitan Housing Coalition. A native of Louisville, Donnie is married to Dr. Candace Atkins, and they are parents to baby girl Dahlia. Gabrielle Jones has a passion for serving diverse audiences. She is the Vice President of Content and Interim CEO at Louisville Public Media. Prior to joining LPM in 2021, Gabrielle served as digital news editor and audience editor for KERA in Dallas, Texas, and also worked at Richmond, Virginia's PBS and NPR affiliate, BPM. She completed her undergraduate work in English and Mass Communications at North Carolina Central University in Durham, and earned her master's degree in journalism and public affairs from American University. Gabrielle is the former vice president of the board of directors at the Public Media Journalists Association, and currently serves on the organization's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. She worked on Louisville Public Media's collaborative home issue of Louisville Magazine, which was a finalist for a 2023 National Magazine Award. Her other awards include 2 2020 Regional Murrow Awards for Overall Excellence and Multimedia with BPM.
Hello. It's my honor to introduce to you Daniel Lawson. Daniel is an engineering professional currently serving as vice president and colleague of mine at Bussey Construction. With degrees in nuclear engineering and engineering sciences, Dan has distinguished himself through a remarkable career that spans multiple industries, including construction, engineering, consulting, manufacturing, healthcare, and utilities. His technical experience and vision have been instrumental in driving innovation and success across these diverse industrial landscapes. An avid traveler, I can attest to that. Every time I go to his desk, I'm wondering what country is Dan traveling to this week. No, I tease, but I share his love for travel as well. Dan is passionate and he loves water adventures. In fact, we talk about the Virgin Islands and recent trips to St. John and the British Virgin Islands. I think you've got one coming up here in a week or two, don't you? Okay. But nobody's counting, right? Dan finds his greatest joy exploring the world, combining his sense of adventure with a deep appreciation for all environments. He is deeply committed to community service and leadership, and looks forward to dedicating significant time and philanthropic efforts as a Rotarian. Past volunteer service includes leadership positions on the boards of several nonprofit organizations, including Noah's Ark and Prodigal Ministries. Dan Lawson. Perfect.
Picture's correct. Both.
Okay, well, I am honored now to introduce today's speaker. Dr. Eli Capilouto became the 12th president of the University of Kentucky on July 1st, 2011. Under his leadership, the Commonwealth's flagship and land-grant research university has grown from $2.7 billion to nearly $8.4 billion in total operations, and has gained significant momentum in Advancing Kentucky. Advancing Kentucky is the institution's singular yet multifaceted mission. President Capilouto has led a more than $7 billion transformation of the campus, aimed at enriching the living learning experience of UK students, ensuring their success, strengthening the university's research infrastructure dedicated to solving Kentucky's most intractable health and economic challenges, and expanding UK healthcare's capacity to teach, heal, and serve. Through partnerships with the private sector, increased philanthropy, and effective financial management, UK is self-financing much of this aggressive infrastructure development with the purpose of equipping the next generation of leaders who will impact our world for the better. Under his leadership, the priorities outlined in UK Purpose, the strategic plan, and the innovation of the campus has resulted in historic student success, improved care for all our people, unrivaled ingenuity, greater trust, transparency, and accountability, and a community of belonging. The progress on campus is resulting in a high-quality workforce and improved health and well-being for the Commonwealth UK has served for 160 years, all essential to advancing Kentucky. A native of Montgomery, Alabama, Dr. Capilouto previously served as provost of the University of Alabama at Birmingham, UAB, and dean of the UAB School of Public Health, a period of remarkable growth and transportation at one of the leading academic and health sciences institutions in the South. Dr. Capilouto holds several undergraduate and graduate degrees from schools within the University of Alabama, that whole system, a doctorate of dental medicine from UAB, and a doctorate of health policy and management from Harvard University. He and his wife, Dr. Mary Lynn Capilouto, DMD, a former dean of the UAB School of Dentistry, live in Lexington and have one daughter. Welcome, Dr. Capilouto.
Thank you, Laura, for that kind introduction. Thank you for the gift of the ball cap. I have, after 14 years, I have many special memories of my tenure at the university. One was an evening that Joe B. Hall invited me to supper with Coach Crow. And the two of them, and I got to hear fantastic stories. So and I collect hats, caps, so I will keep that one and hold it dear. Also, I'm glad that Trustee Gohagen is here today. It's good to have people who approve your contract, watch closely. And only two people here have asked why I'm wearing these blue Nike UK track shoes. Earlier today, I stopped by our Capitol in Frankfurt, and it is suits and sneakers day there. That's why I have these on. I did have my dress shoes with me, but it felt so good. I kept them on. But more importantly, it was for all of us to recognize and remember that cancer is still a horrible scourge in Kentucky, and we have so much more to do in preventing and treating individuals and families where that disease impacts their lives. And Laurie, again, thanks for the kind introduction. It is our 160th birthday at the University of Kentucky. And I also, every time I've had the honor to visit, recall your motto, service above self. And I think that aligns perfectly with a promise that the university made to Kentucky 160 years ago, and that's to advance Kentucky in everything we do. And each year, I think, we raise the bar on what it means to advance Kentucky. Our board asks us to, and each year, I think, we clear our higher bar. So I want to share with you some of the things we have done. And the most important thing that I'll say to you today represents, I think, the power of we. It's taken so many individuals from partnerships, employees on our campus, our students, alumni, philanthropists, and so forth. But Laurie highlighted many of these, but I want to mention them. First, we continue to have record rates of enrollment, retention, and graduation. We need more educated Kentuckians. We have invested more than $7 billion in our infrastructure on campus. It represents 9 million square feet of new construction or renovations. And importantly, I want to say, we spend 2% or less, depending on the year, 2% of our total revenues in retiring debt. It's a small amount of dollars, and I want to assure you and all Kentuckians, we have not mortgaged our future in building our infrastructure. And we have reinforced through our UK Purpose strategic plan some of the things that Laurie highlighted you in the ways that our board has directed us to advance Kentucky. And recently our Board of Trustees, they meet annually in a retreat, and they've asked us to do even more, to distinguish ourselves in advancing the health of a state more than any institution of our type in the country. And it's not for the acclaim, it's because what it will mean to have not only a wiser Kentucky and a more educated Kentucky, but a healthier Kentucky, so that we can meet the opportunities that are coming our way, both in the economic developments and creating those jobs in the future. So let me elaborate some on the progress we've made on enrollment and graduation rates. We admitted 6,500 first-year students this past year. It's a record. We'll do that again this year, maybe more. That adds to some 36,000 students who are enrolled at the University of Kentucky, another record. And I always want to remind people that while we have grown enrollment, our doors are open widest to Kentuckians and widest to Kentuckians who may be the first in their family to go to college and who come from lower income groups. Our first year class is several thousand more than it was 10 or 15 years ago. But still, 25% of our students are the first in their families to go to college in those entering classes, and 25% of our students come from families whose average annual income is just around $27,000. And we're committed to their success. We will have disserved Kentucky if we don't make certain those individuals receive their diplomas. Our 6-year graduation rate is now ranks in the top 100 of public universities of our type in the country. Our 4-year graduation rate in the last 15 years has moved 30 percentage points, not 30%, but 30 percentage points. And the transformation of our campus with our major construction projects continues. Here are just a few that are underway now. A cancer and advanced ambulatory building, commenced work on this new cancer and ambulatory center. It'll be some 500,000, over 500,000 square feet. It'll be ready in November of 27. For the first time, what is currently our Markey Cancer Center, which is spread out in 6 different buildings, will be in one facility. Infrastructure matters because it brings in proximity clinicians and researchers so that our patients will realize the latest in care to battle this pernicious disease. We also have broken ground, and I can see the steel being erected now on what will be another 500,000 square feet building, the largest academic building we've ever built at the University of Kentucky. It's the Michael D. Rankin, MD, Health Education Building. And this state-of-the-art facility will allow us to grow enrollment in our health colleges. But at the same time, we all know today, if you've had to engage that health system, it usually takes more than one discipline to treat your particular problem. And so we're going to have students who are able to learn, train together from 4 colleges: medicine, nursing, public health, and health sciences. Also in this facility will be a center we have had for years at the University of Kentucky that has expertise in how one trains individuals to act efficiently and collaboratively do interprofessional work. Next, we've started to rebuild what I'll call the southern part of our campus, where our Martin Gatton College of Agriculture, Food, and Environment is largely housed. We broke ground on a $60 million Martin Gatton Agricultural Sciences building. It's the first new teaching facility for that college in 30 years. Because of the generous support of the Bill Gatton Foundation, which a year more ago granted us a $100 million gift, we honored the naming of the college with Mr. Gatton's mother and father. That's where the Martin comes from, that's his mother's maiden name. Because of that support, we're able to launch new programs, something that was special to Mr. Gatton. We'll be able to do in these facilities, a companion animal program, among others. We're also building a new agricultural research building. With appreciation to the state, I'm able to say we'll invest some $285 million. So this is going to be sort of transformative infrastructure investment that continues along the lines of that $7 billion we've already invested. So we believe it's a simple formula to have success on a college campus. It takes infrastructure, talented and committed faculty and staff, and lastly, innovation. So I could share with you many examples of innovation. I'm going to share with you one that is more recent and is off to a great start, and it is called UK Invest. UK Invest. So every student at the University of Kentucky has the opportunity to open their own investment account. Right? Now, how do you get the money to invest in that account? You have to do those things that build community, build character, and we know contribute to student success. And you can earn up to $250 a semester, $500 in an academic year to invest in your account. Now, Laurie mentioned in the introduction, we have partners. So many of the wonderful things we've been able to do, we recognize at first, we don't have all the expertise. We recognize that students respond to micro incentives. So how could we match that with behaviors and also at the same time teach financial literacy, financial management, and investment. So we understood student behavior, but the investment part, we interviewed firms all over the country, national ones, and chose Fidelity, which has several thousand employees in Kentucky. They also manage the majority of retirement accounts for our staff at UK and really universities across the country. So when these students do good things, they get an investment in their account. We support these investments through philanthropy. Mr. Jim Hardiman, one of our graduates, our board recognized him for $1 million investment this past year to allow our students to earn wealth. That was important, build wealth for them and their families. Mr. Hardiman strongly believes in this. And because of those good activities, our students have invested $1.5 million in their investment accounts. What do we know about those who invest? This isn't causal yet. It's only the first year as we look into this. But those who invest are more likely to return to college. They have higher grade point averages. I'm happy to say, too, that the rates of participation are the same across all income groups. In this year's freshman class, those 6,500 students, 60% have opened investment accounts. So that's that spirit of innovation that I think inhabits our campus, and again is an example of the power of we. So today, I'm certain that many of you have recognized the importance of research and how research is funded by the federal government and others. It's drawing much attention. And that has meant a lot at UK because we know those discoveries hold the keys to a healthier, wealthier, and wiser Kentucky. And individuals dedicate their lives to this. Breakthroughs in science are built on the graveyard of big ideas. I think one of the greatest strengths a scientist has is to pick themselves up off the floor after another failed hypothesis. But you learn from that, you build upon it, you submit another proposal to support your research. And there's great uncertainty now around that research and how it's funded. But there's one thing for which I have no uncertainty. I don't have a single doubt. There's nowhere in the country where the research we do is going to matter more for Kentuckians. It's research in Kentucky for Kentucky. A couple examples. I'm glad Kevin's here today. He was part of this. So we have two entities. The James B. Bean Institute for Kentucky Spirits and the Markey Cancer Center. They're only a few hundred yards apart, but they do two things that are very simple. And it involves the mysteries that we are now unlocking related to genetics. So the James B. Bean Institute, in partnership with Maker's Mark, has mapped the genome of the white oak. I'll never forget when I got to Kentucky, they took me to the Robinson Forest. They had a tree census on the wall, and it was the American chestnut, which heavily inhabited the forest back then. Well, it's extinct today. What would happen to Kentucky if, like the chestnut, disease wiped it out? But anyway, we planted thousands of trees, we mapped the genome, we're ensuring our future when it comes to the white. And now today, unfortunately, if you're diagnosed with a cancer, we can take the genetics of that cancer and customize what we call precision medicine to best treat you. So it took decades of work to be able to have those kinds of breakthroughs. There's an economic impact from our research. We have well over $500 million of external funding. It creates, in an annual basis, it creates nearly 5,000 jobs, half of which are on our campus. But what we do in terms of purchasing supplies and building space and so forth creates many other jobs. We double down on research. We can't do everything, but we've chosen priority areas that most impact Kentucky: cancer, cardiovascular disease, memory disorders, and aging. We also, though, focus on things that are critical to our economy, like energy and advanced manufacturing. So I want you to know we want to continue that work, and some of the decisions being made in Washington will impact our capacity and capability. I mentioned earlier that our board meets annually and directs us, reestablishes our North Star in many ways. So this last year, after the retreat, we are directed and have established the Advancing Kentucky Together Network. Advancing Kentucky Together Network, primarily focused on health and advancing health in Kentucky, so we can meet those opportunities that are coming our way in terms of economic development. But we're striving to improve the health across Kentucky. We have decades of partnerships and affiliations with clinics and hospitals. We have extension offices in all 120 counties. We believe that our experiences and partnerships are something we can leverage so that working together we can advance health in Kentucky. We also know from these partnerships we have a lot to learn from our local partners who know their people best. But we believe working together we can leverage the capacity that we have. So that's what we pledge to do, to honor that promise that we made to Kentucky 160 years ago. It's always an honor for me to address this group. In closing, I want to thank you as you introduce your new members, and I recognize many of your current members, and after 14 years, knowing the impact you've had individually and collectively in Kentucky, it's been great to be with you again, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Capilouto and your team, for being here today. Rotarians, if you have any questions, please come to this microphone and abide by the rules on the screen.
You mentioned all the property on the campus and corrections and building and so forth. I'm curious about who owns Rupp Arena and what is the current status of it, and does the basketball team get to practice there every day and so forth and so on?
In reality, that's a city facility. They have a different corporation that manages it all, but it's a city facility. And we have a lease that we renewed during my first few years at Kentucky. I've forgotten if it's 15 or 20 years, but the city has invested in the arena. It's been updated. The convention center that adjoins it is totally renovated and expanded. And later on in the summer or the fall, we're going to be opening, and this is work of philanthropy. It will be known as the Gatton Park. It's going to be right next to Rotary, so it's going to be a lovely area, a real asset to downtown Kentucky, downtown Lexington. And the basketball team has their own practice facility. They don't practice there.
Dr. Capilouto, my name is Corey Miller. I'm the director of the Cabbage Patch Settlement House. And we haven't had the pleasure of meeting, but your reputation, we're a youth-serving organization, after school primarily, but we have a college scholar program, and we've had a wonderful partnership with the University of Kentucky for a number of years, started with my predecessor, Tracy, over there. But we have had, for a number of years, we had students that we have first-generation college students and underrepresented groups, and just kind of everything you talked about, opening your doors wide. And we are just very fortunate and appreciate that our students could go to the University of Kentucky and graduate and exit debt-free. And so that was a wonderful blessing for a number of years, and we still have a vibrant relationship. So just thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Dr. Capilouto, Louis Straub, president of Independence Bank here, 1986 grad of University of Kentucky, UK fellow and lifetime alumni member. So big supporter of the University of Kentucky in education. I also have two college students. One attended in-state, another attended another state university, and those tuitions now for in-state, industry averages are about $140,000 in-state, and industry averages out-of-state run $220,000 to go through all 4 years. So 18 years from now, it'll cost in-state $340,000, and out-of-state $445,000. That's a lot of money for a young parent to send one child to college. What are university presidents, and what's the education industry doing to address this increasingly high rate of the cost of education, college education?
Sure. Thank you for your question. First of all, I'll tell you more recently about the University of Kentucky. In the last 6 years, Jay, our percent tuition increase has been far under the inflation amount. It's less than 2%. We have worked to curb cost and price. We have invested more heavily into grants and scholarships that students don't have to pay back. Those are both need-based and merit-based. It's a competitive market. But I'm happy to say that 50% of our students graduate with absolutely no debt. And of those who graduate with debt, the average is around $30,000. This financial literacy that we've been advancing and extended further through UK Invest is something we've been doing for years, because we do not want students to find that kind of anchor once they leave college and enter the workforce.
Thank you, Dr. Capilouto. My name is Fred Callan. I'm a retired judge. I did not attend the University of Kentucky, but I can tell you that I was, in 1958, president of Freedom Hall when UK won the NCAA championship. And I usually cry consistently whenever they lost their games when I was that age. But my question is, there's been a lot of controversy, as you well know, with respect to so-called DEI initiatives. And the University of Kentucky took some steps a couple of months ago, I recall, about having something to do with changing the program that existed or the commitment, et cetera. So I just wondered if you could bring us up to date on where you stand or where the university stands with respect to commitment to minority students and to others who might otherwise be marginalized.
Sure, thank you for your question. First of all, I will say that really under the guidance and direction of our board starting years ago, what we now call today is many people, one community is what we're trying to do. And we want everyone to feel like they belong at the University of Kentucky, and we work at it. And I believe, I may have my numbers wrong, haven't looked at them in a while, 10, 12 years ago, maybe 9% of our graduates were underrepresented minority, and now it's well over 15%. So this is something we did intentionally. We certainly respect court decisions. One that was made a few years ago that said one could not, use race as a preference in awarding in admissions and so forth. So we respected those things. We also recognized some of the questions many people had about the activities that we had underway. I'd have to say some of those were perplexing to me, but whenever I'm stuck and have trouble trying to make a decision, I like to turn to our campus. So there were editorials written about our activities and that they dominated our campus. There's model legislation that floated around the country. We had numerous open records requests for all of our activities and how much we spend on these and so forth. So I certainly recognize that most likely the General Assembly would be addressing this in the next session. Last session, there were two bills that sort of didn't get together on the last day. So what did I do? I had small groups of faculty, staff, and students. I gave them the same information that was perplexing me. I had two questions. The third question was, what would you do? So it was out of those conversations that we made changes in the way we do these things on campus. We thought we could do it, maintain our commitment with respect to the law and court decisions. And I learned that some of the things that we adopted, and they weren't pervasive across all the campus, but units had undertaken, were things that people were recognizing didn't necessarily work anyway. We certainly, like a lot of decisions we made them in the context of our time, and we hoped that they would work. Some of them didn't work as well. Some we adjusted to work better. So we made these decisions about things like mandatory trainings or required diversity statements in hiring and admissions. Things we made certain people understood we weren't doing. Maintaining our commitment to many people, one community. So yesterday, the House in Frankfurt passed by, I think, 81 to 18, a new DEI bill. I'm happy to say that things that are important to the vibrancy of a campus are acknowledged in the bill. Nothing should impact in that bill the academic freedom involving instruction and course content. Academic freedom involving faculty, staff, and student organizations. The academic freedom associated with what a scholar chooses to explore and what questions they want to answer or what works they want to create. Those are sacred, I believe, to what a college campus should be. And I would say in terms of the other things that are not allowed, we believe that we are in full compliance. So we've had to adjust, we have to respect, legislation or laws that are passed, but I still think the heart and soul of the University of Kentucky on an individual and a collective basis to better understand one another still burns bright. We have students from all 120 counties all 50 states, and 100 countries. And we hope this microcosm of the world can be a place where people learn a lot about themselves, how they perceive others, and learn from others on a campus that is as diverse as ours.
Dr. Capilouto, thank you for that thoughtful response. We appreciate it. I'm Kristen Boone. I am with PNC Bank, lead institutional asset management in Kentucky and Tennessee, and in '95, graduate of the University of Kentucky. And thank you, Lewis, for that question, because I have the oldest of 3 boys that is going to college this next year, and very high on our priority list right now. So my question is about you are educating our future leaders. Thinking about the economic vibrancy of both the Commonwealth and in particular Louisville, retaining, attracting and retaining that talent is going to be core to that. From Louisville's perspective and Louisville leadership, what do we need to be doing? What could we be doing either more or differently to make sure that we are the kind of city that your students and your graduates want to come in and be a part of?
Sure. So I'm not about to tell citizens of Louisville how to do things. I do. I have. And for instance, I attended Mayor Greenberg's State of the City address. And that was very exciting to me. I think he has a tremendous plan. I'm glad to see the state is investing in Louisville. That's exciting. I appreciate some of the grand things, but there were some little things I heard that day. And then I was happy to learn after on one of these little things that, we're playing a part. So I forgot the name of the library, Jay, but one of the things that the mayor mentioned about reopening a library that hadn't been opened in 50 years, or restoring a library, in maybe underserved part of town. Well, not in my direction. This is the power of we, but I learned that our College of Social Work is going to be placing a social worker there. Because, oftentimes this can be a place where people go to use computers and things they wouldn't necessarily have access to. I know that our legislature is investing in infrastructure at the University of Louisville. That's important. I think it was Daniel Patrick Moynihan, you remember that name, senator from New York, cabinet secretary. They asked him, how do you build a great city? And he said, build a great university and wait 200 years. So we love to compete with the University of Louisville on the basketball court, football field and all. But I'm biased. You want a great city? Have a great university.
This is actually not a question, but I forgot to say something that I wanted to say during the introductions. So our intern, Blaze, who you've seen faithfully over here, taking care of some of the things that I used to have to do, allowing me more freedom to actually meet and greet with some of you, was brought to us by Vernon Foster with the University of Louisville College of Business, and he is looking for full-time employment in the IT support, data analytics, and cybersecurity space. So if you know of opportunities or you are in that space and would be happy to chat with him about the industry in general, please see me or Blaze, or I can send you his resume. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Capilouto, and thank you for bringing Jay Glenn with you. And I want to thank Kelly for hosting, Ron and Leslie Gohagan. It's very nice to see you all. I think it's been a year or two since I've seen you here, so think about, membership. I don't know. everything you all do for the community as well. So as a UK alum, both at the undergraduate and the law school level, and no, Kristen and Lewis, I am not going to say the year I graduated, or either one of those. It is really great to hear the update and to understand how strong the university is right now. It's really important to the entire Commonwealth, right? We're being hosted here today by the also wonderful University of Louisville, very important, very important. But the University of Kentucky is the land-grant institution, and it is important to all of Kentucky. So thank you for everything that you do. I will say I do keep up a little bit. I'm one of the UK Women in Philanthropy, so I kind of understand how you're trying to help students and in addressing attracting philanthropic dollars to help support what the university and what the state legislature does. And I will also say a couple of years ago I was asked if I would be on the advisory board for the Lewis Honors College, and I hadn't been on campus for a while, and I am on that now, and I enjoy it quite a bit. It's a lot of fun to see people at that stage in their lives and what they're getting ready to do. But I will admit I was extremely jealous because there was no Lewis Honors College dorm and building with all of that infrastructure when I was there. It was just a bunch of small classes that you did throughout your 4 years. It's just incredibly impressive to see that effort and to just say, infrastructure matters. I mean, it really brings people to the campus. It helps prepare people better, and it's just a magnet for some of our students to see how we care about the honor students all across the country. So congratulations on that as well. Next week we have Paul Humphrey as our speaker. He is the chief for the Louisville Metro Police Department, and you will need to register before noon on Monday, or you can register by using the QR code that is on the screen right now. I'm also happy to report, this isn't in any of our written materials yet because it is hot off the presses, but Governor Andy Beshear will be speaking to our club. He could not make any Thursdays work. So we are going to be moving the April 3rd meeting to March 31st. You will see that in your written materials. But because it is a different date, we wanted to make sure you could go ahead and put it on the calendar. We know that that is going to be a very crowded meeting just like this one was. So thank you all very much. Guests, don't forget to please make your way briefly over to the What is Rotary table.